So most of you will be pleased to know that today's video is a happy video about man's best friend, the Hellhound. They're kind of like man's best friend, except sometimes they may kill you. So I guess they're not really man's best friend. Many of you may be familiar with the term Hellhound, which basically refers to a supernatural dog that can be found in folklore from all around the world. Now, because of their obvious association with hell, there is the belief that all hellhounds are evil, and this is not the case, and in today's video we'll go over the different types of hellhounds and the roles they perform. In regards to their appearance, hellhounds pretty much appear as you'd imagine. They have dark, black, mangled fur that sometimes appears to even be charred. Their eyes glow a menacing crimson colour, and some are even completely engulfed in flames, which is most common amongst cultures that associate fire with the afterlife. Now, exactly what a hellhound does can vary. Some are assigned as guard dogs protecting the entrances to the land of the dead. These entrances often include graveyards, burial grounds, or literal gates in some stories. In other stories they act as a divide between the supernatural world and our own, keeping creatures and mythical beings secret. There are also of course hellhounds that are charged with bringing back souls from the underworld, endlessly pursuing their victim until they have torn them to pieces. One of the most famous examples of a hellhound that exists in mythology is Cerberus, the three-headed hound that guards the entrance to the Greek underworld. We've mentioned that not all hellhounds mean harm, and we see that with Cerberus, who not only guards the entrance to the underworld, but also guides the dead to the afterlife. Now, quite a few people have previously asked me to cover some British mythology because it's something that's somewhat faded from existence. You'll be pleased to know that the legend of the Hellhound is something that is common across Great Britain. We first travelled to Wales to take a look at their interpretation of a hellhound, the Cwnanwn. They were a spectral hound that for the most part was considered to be benign. They may have a ghostly white appearance, but their ears were red. This dates back to the Celts, who considered red to be a colour associated with death. They would eventually be nicknamed the Dogs of Hell, as it was believed if you were to hear their howl, then death would soon follow. The Black Shuck is a type of hellhound that is found along the English coastline in Suffolk, Norfolk and Essex. Here there are local tales of a large black dog the size of a horse. It has eyes that resemble fire, and oddly enough there are stories of the Black Shuck appearing as headless. The majority of stories describe encounters with the Black Shuck as terrifying but rarely deadly. It often haunts graveyards, crossroads and dark forests. Some stories describe the Black Shuck as scaring its victims to within an inch of death, and then leaving them alone to continue an ordinary life, as if it takes enjoyment from other people's fears. There are some stories, however, where it is more benign. It would appear only during the evening, and accompany lone women, ensuring that they get home safely. The stories and legends of the Black Shuck have existed in the English countryside for over 1,000 years, and for those Sherlock Holmes fans out there is a good chance that the Black Shuck was the inspiration for the legend that we see in The Hound of the Baskervilles. Staying in Britain, we now head to Yorkshire, where there are tales of a hellhound that goes by the name of the Barghest. This is a monstrous black dog with huge claws and enormous teeth. This hound is far from benign. It prefers to prey on lone travellers, and needless to say these travellers would never be heard from again after an encounter with the Barghest. The Barghest was also thought to be capable of shapeshifting, assuming several different forms. A headless man capable of vanishing into flames, a headless woman, a black dog, a rabbit, and for some reason a white cat. The notion of hellhounds appearing as ghosts and even shapeshifters is actually one that is quite common throughout Great Britain. In northern England there are tales of a trickster-like hound known as the Gytrash. This was a black dog that would lurk around the roads waiting for travellers, haunting them and leading them astray. It was believed that they could appear as horses, mules and dogs, and if you were to come across one whose eyes were glowing, like burning coals, then it's believed their intentions were evil. This was considered quite important, because there were tales of the Gytrash where they would guide lost travellers back to safety, so the eyes were then used as a way to distinguish between a spirit that wanted to help you and one that wanted to kill you. There is a type of hellhound that was believed to have been a spirit of the church, and these appeared in both Scandinavian and English folklore. They often looked after and oversaw the overall well-being of a particular church. These hounds were referred to as the Church Grim, and they appeared to be much smaller in size than the hellhounds that we've previously discussed. They were also believed to have enjoyed loud noises and ringing bells, which could be another reason why they were attracted to churches. If we now move away from Scandinavian folklore and into Norse mythology, we now have our next example of a hellhound, Garm, the guardian of the gates of hell. Garm is often described as being either a wolf or a dog, but quite similar to Cerberus, they both guard the gates to hell or the afterlife. Overall, hellhounds can be quite a mixed bag. They can appear as wild animals, protectors, guides, and even tricksters. The term hellhound is quite broad and can refer to all manner of creatures, but they are most commonly recognised as large dogs with black fur and eyes that glow a menacing shade of red. If you're familiar with any hellhounds from other cultures, then feel free to share them with me in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fiction Explained.